How's it going, movie fans? My name is Jonathan Martinez, and I am a man of movies. I love film and everything that has to do about it. And I'm just here for you to listen to my take. This past weekend was my birthday weekend, and I was able to actually go to a movie theater, AMC, before I don't even know what's gonna happen to them, happens to them. And I was able to check out this film.
I want my body back.
Come and get it.
So Freaky is written and directed by Christopher Landon, who is slowly becoming one of my favorite horror directors out there, if you want to even consider it that. And when he made Happy Death Day, it was one of my favorite movies that year. And the sequel came out, and I really enjoyed it too, but not as much as the first one. But you can see that Landon has this sort of stylistic approach to his filmmaking, and the way he just mixed genres together to come out with a new type of horror film. And Freaky is just like that. Freaky is a mixture of Freaky Friday and Friday the 13th. You have a girl named Millie. She's a high school student. She's a very shy girl that doesn't really have many friends. Her mom is possibly her best friend. She's gone through some stuff in the most recent of times. And there's this killer on the loose, played by Vince Vaughn. And through some sort of ritualistic voodoo type thing, they switch places. So now the killer is in the teenage girl's body with the same mentality of a killer. And then the girl, the shy girl with hardly any friends, is in the killer's body now. You can only imagine what ensues after this. So the whole movie is them just trying to figure out how the heck can we figure this out, while the killer, on the other hand, is having a ball with the new body he's in. Nobody knows that he is this serial killer, and he can do whatever he wants whenever he wants now. The very first thing I want to talk about in this movie is the opening scene. It beat both Happy Death Days out of the water, and it pays such a great homage to Scream and Friday the 13th, as you're going through these teenagers who are chilling at night, and they're telling the story of this killer that killed back in the day. And come on, you know what's gonna happen if it pays homage to a horror movie. And just like Scream, horror movies have rules, and these teenagers are breaking those rules, and they're engaging in a whole bunch of teenager acts, and stuff happens. But the way that Landon writes this, he writes it to be comedic, and the horror is definitely there. But the way that he subverts my expectations when it comes to the horror is why I loved it. And I don't want to get too much into it, because then I'll get to spoiling what I mean by that. But it sets up for the movie, and it gives us such a good idea of what we're gonna get ourselves into. And I love when the ending happens of the first scene, and it cuts to the title, Freaky. And I remember looking to my wife, and she wasn't looking at me, but I was looking at her, because I was shocked of how much I loved this, of how much I think just that little piece of filmmaking was some of the best filmmaking, in my opinion, I've seen this year. Just like another horror movie that I reviewed earlier this year, The Invisible Man, the score is something else that popped out to me in this movie too. There is a soundtrack to this movie, and it's very similar to the way that Booksmart had its soundtrack. But that aside, I'm talking about the score. And I really like the eerie, horrific type of score that this movie was giving us. And no more is it evident than when the killer's on the screen, or when the killer's making his entrance, and the score booms in your ear in the same way how when Thanos arrived in Infinity War in Wakanda, that score just boomed, and it kind of made you think, this dude is the real deal. Like, he's terrifying, and the music's helping me be scared of this guy. And it's Vince Vaughn. What the heck? He's not a scary guy. But the score and the way that it was filmed helps it to believe that he is this killer. And the best thing about this movie for me is the concept. The concept of Freaky Friday meets a horror movie is the very reason why I went to sit down in the first place. And because of that genre, it lends itself to a really good pace throughout the whole movie. There's not one time in the movie where I thought, this is getting boring. I don't want to be here watching this right now. I could skip through this. I felt like everything was where it needed to be. And if it wasn't for the concept of Freaky Friday, it wouldn't have worked as well, I think. But here is a sort of critique that I have for the movie. There is a lot of comedy in this movie, but Landon has done it in his other films too. He makes horror comedies. And I think the very first Happy Death Day was a horror movie with comedy in it. But then you go to the second movie, Happy Death Day 2, and I thought it was more of a comedy movie with horror elements. It's like he reversed it. But it was the sequel to his first film, Happy Death Day. And so this movie comes in, and I'm expecting at least an equal mix of both. Unfortunately, to those of you thinking, hey, I'm here to watch a horror movie, no, you're here to watch a comedy movie with horror elements. This is just like Happy Death Day 2 in that way. It is funny before it is scary, but it is scary.
Look, I know I look like the butcher, but it's Millie.
He's crazy.
Okay, Booker, can you look at me, please?
Booker!
Dry up, bitch.
Booker, help! Booker!
Will you shut up?
Booker!
This movie, at its core, is a MacGuffin type of film because they have to look for the item that switches their souls to each other's bodies. So the movie does get, in my opinion, a little tired out because I've seen so many MacGuffin films in my life. And they do it all the time. I mean, even Rise of Skywalker, which should have been one of the bigger Star Wars movies, was a MacGuffin film. And it just gets a little bit tired out. When you're watching Freaky Friday, you think, okay, they switch places, but there's a message to all this, right? The daughter learns what the mom has to deal with day in and day out. And the mom gets to go back to when she was younger and notice, hey, like my daughter has her struggles too. And there's a sort of message in the Freaky Friday motif. But this movie doesn't have that because it wants to focus on retrieving the item. And there's a moment or two there when the mom and the daughter, they try to bond. But I feel like those aspects of the movie that try to develop a sense of character, that try to develop a sense of plot, is rushed. It's just so rushed in order to get to the laughs and in order to get to the end, which is what I mean. They use these big moments that is supposed to create some sort of sympathy for the characters as a means to an end, and that's something I didn't appreciate. I just wish there was a little bit more horror installed in it as well. And I guess that's where I'm gonna take the overall thoughts too. The movie was fun. The genre blending and the style that he made the film was inspired. The acting was good. The writing was great. Some points I didn't enjoy in the writing that I wish they would just look it over just one more bit. But Landon is just going out there and he's becoming one of my favorite horror type of directors. Vince Vaughn, who plays the killer, he is so comedic. The way that the score portrays him when he arrives makes him feel like a real credible threat. But when he is the teenage girl, he's freaking hilarious. I don't know what else to say about this movie other than you gotta go and watch it, and you gotta go watch this movie several times because it is a repeat watch type of film. But like always, those are my thoughts. If you've seen Freaky, comment down below and let me know what you think about it. I loved it. Honestly, it's gonna be up there as one of my favorite films this year, which should say a lot because it is a good movie, but in another sense doesn't say much because I haven't really seen so many films this year because everything's been ruined this year. real quick, this is my theory. It's theory time, everybody. I'm gonna put that somewhere, but it's theory time. But I believe that these movies will all connect in the same universe, a Landon verse, if you will. At the end of Happy Death Day 2, I'm about to spoil a almost 2-year-old movie. We find out that there is some sort of government agency out there that's paying attention to these weird occurrences, especially the occurrence that happened in the movie with the whole Groundhog's Day scenario. And they ask, hey, come and help us. My theory, if I'm correct, is that this government agency will play off like S.H.I.E.L.D. in the Marvel Universe, and they will come to every movie and sort of connect it all. Because this whole ritual, the artifact that switches their souls together, it's almost as weird as why the girl in the first Happy Death Day was having the Groundhog's Day scenario. I think if they make a Freaky 2 or another movie with another sort of stylistic choice that Landon uses, this CIA, FBI agency will be there, and we're gonna find out this is a horror universe. I'm excited for it. I'm telling it now. I don't know if other people have said it, but I have thought about it, and I am excited if it's true. But like always, like this video and share this video with family and friends. Support content that you like, and subscribe to my channel. Till next time, movie fans.